Once again, my fantastic guide Yadi has spotted something. This is Mandai, and it's being sold on the side of the road. It's made from Cempedak skin that's been fermented. So you can get all sorts of different sizes of it, depending on how much you want. Whoa! Also some candied Cempedak fruit. So all the Cempedak you could possibly want, right on the side of the road, so people can drive by, they see this display, they stop to the side, and take it home with them.
Greetings everybody! Recently I had the opportunity to visit Borneo, and while I was there I came across a local specialty that I have never heard of before called Mandai. Mandai is made from a fruit called Cempedak. Cempedak is in the same genus as jackfruit. You may notice a similarity between the two. But it is a distinct species and it is very different than jackfruit. I mean, it's kind of like jackfruit, but it's kind of like if you took a piece of jackfruit and a piece of onion and you put that in a bowl of Fruity Pebbles. That's kind of what it tastes like. It's got a savory, funky taste to it, but also this very sweet, fruity taste to it. And it's acquired. Mandai is not made from the flesh. It's not made from the sweet part of it. It is made from the skin and the rags, which is like the rubbery bits that surround the sweet part of this fruit. In order to explain how something like this can be used to make a meat substitute, we should probably talk about its more popular brother, the jackfruit. So here is a hunk of jackfruit. Spiky and green on the outside, yellowish orange fruit on the inside. And I think it's pretty well known these days that jackfruit can be used as a meat substitute, but there's a lot of misinformation about it. First of all, jackfruit does not taste like meat, okay? It is used to make a meat substitute, but the flavor of this fruit is actually very, very tasty. It is kind of hard to explain, maybe a little bit in the world of like pineapple, mango, a very tropical kind of taste. Juicy fruit gum is actually flavored after jackfruit, so it actually tastes like juicy fruit gum. So that's the first thing. Doesn't taste like meat. So if you want your jackfruit meat substitute to taste like meat, you have to add meat flavoring to that, okay? Second thing, this is a ripe jackfruit. Ripe jackfruit is not used to make a meat substitute. The unripe jackfruit is used. So these are picked very early, and when it's picked early, that is before all this chunky fruit in here forms, okay? So it's not going to have a sweet, fruity flavor. It doesn't taste like anything. You know, people are using it because of the texture. And the texture that they're getting is from something called the rags of the fruit. So around these pulpy bits is a very rubbery substance that is surrounding that called the rags. And if you have an unripe jackfruit, you're just getting rags. You're not getting any of this sweet fruit inside. If you have an Indian supermarket near you, or maybe an Asian supermarket, you might be able to find an unripe jackfruit and do this yourself. But the easiest way to make a meat substitute with unripe jackfruit is to get it in a can. Most Asian supermarkets will have this. Just make sure you're getting an unripe jackfruit in brine and not a fresh, ripe jackfruit in syrup. They are going to be very, very different things. Now, I said that this is usually made into fake meat when it is unripe, but there is a way to do it when it is ripe. And in order to do that, you actually have to first take the fruit out. Whatever meat you're trying to make, you don't want it to taste like juicy fruit gum. So you're going to want to take those rags and you want to wash them really, really well a few times. Make sure there's no little bits of pulp in there, because that's not going to make your meat taste very good. Okay, so you remove all of that fruit, and then you do have something that you can use as a meat substitute. Now that is how jackfruit is used to make a meat substitute, and jackfruit gets enough attention as it is. So we're not talking about this. We are talking about Cempedak. Mandai is not just the rags of a Cempedak, it is the rags and skin of a Cempedak that has been fermented. Now, I don't believe that people just eat hunks of Mandai like as it is. This is an ingredient that you're then going to take and you're going to cook. At the airport, they had an entire shelf at the gift shop just like dedicated to products made out of Mandai. And I picked up a couple of them. This here is a crispy snack that is made out of the Mandai. I believe they take it and they fry it. It's meant to be kind of like a pork floss or something, I think. And yeah, this is just meant to be eaten out of hand, I believe. So this is like a snack for the plane. That's cool. This one here, though, you're meant to cook. It tells you to put it in a pan and heat it up. So this, I believe, is like a seasoned fake meat sort of deal. Now, although these two things I think are vegetarian, not all Mandai products are. It's being used as a meat substitute, but it is not because they don't eat meat. Okay, in fact, the area where I was introduced to Mandai, Banjarmasin, is one of the least vegetarian-friendly places that I've been. It's very often cooked with fish or other types of meat, so yeah, be careful with that. Okay, it is time to try these products, and yes, I changed my shirt. It's a different day. So the first one I'm going to try is this one that's just been fried. Huh. That does not work. I wonder if you're meant to do something with this. It feels like I'm chewing on pen caps. Like as you chew it, then it kind of like mixes with your spit. It gets a little bit softer and then it's a little bit nicer. But, I don't think this is what I think it is. Or if it is what I think it is, I don't like it. Thank God for Google Translate. Okay, what does this say? Mandai chips. Crispy snacks. Crispy and savory. Cempedak's skin, salt, cooking oil, and onions. Yeah, okay, you are meant to just eat it. I would wager that if you made this yourself, like if you took Mandai and you fried it up and ate pieces of it, it would be good. But this has been in this little Tupperware sitting on an airport gift shop shelf for who knows how long. It's not expired, but it's very dry. Very, very dry and doesn't have a nice texture because of that. Next up, the Mandai in the packet. Here it is. It's kind of hard to see against the black plate. So let's put it against my hand here so you can see it a little bit better. Whoops. It is actually very meat-like. It does look like, you know, like pulled pork or what have you. The flavor that I got is sweet and spicy flavor. That is very good. Ooh, it is very spicy, but sweet. But yeah, that is very good. The Mandai itself, I'm guessing, is not giving a whole lot of its own flavor. maybe a bit because it's fermented, but it kind of has a flavor a bit like Thai sweet chili sauce, something like that. But the most notable thing about it is that texture. It is flaky and chewy and sinewy the way meat would be. I'm not sure if what I'm eating would be any different if I were to do the same thing with jackfruit. Meat substitutes made out of jackfruit, I've had it a bunch, and usually when I have it, it's very like soft. This is not soft. This is very chewy. I think you could probably do the same sort of thing with jackfruit. You probably just want to like dry it out some in order to do it. But either way, like the Mandai, for what it is, does have a really nice texture, and it does take on the flavor that is in this really well. I've looked up a few recipes online to see how to prepare Mandai, and oddly, I've seen a couple instances where they say, do not do this with jackfruit, use Cempedak. That's how you make Mandai. I'm like, well, why not? We're dealing with ripe jackfruit, which doesn't have as much latex as an unripe jackfruit, but it does have a bit in there. So I'm going to take a little bit of vegetable oil and put a little bit on my hands. I'm also going to get a little bit of oil on my cleaver here. First, I'm going to trim off the outer portion. It's just going to be a little bit easier to deal with this way. And you can keep the skin. You just want to get rid of the outer skin, just the green part. If you ever wondered what a naked jackfruit looks like, ooh. So I'm going to cut out the core. It's okay if a little bit of the fruit gets in there. Okay. So I'm going to take the seeds out, separate those, and I'm going to take the fruit out. Peel back the rags as best as you can. So this little fleshy bit here and the rags themselves, that is going to go in my bucket here. It's the fruit and the seed I'm going to separate in that bowl. I'm being a little bit careful not to break the fruit. I'm trying to keep the fruit whole, but you don't need to. You can just cut it into slices if you wanted to. Why not? Just what's going to happen is you're going to have broken seeds and broken fruit. So I think one of the big reasons why jackfruit is not used and Cempedak is, see that? Not a lot of skin. On Cempedak, it's more substantial. Wash the inner bits, make sure all little pieces of pulp are out of there. I'm going to wash this 3 times. Same way. Let's see. That actually tastes a bit like a mild jackfruit taste. It does have some sweetness to it. So fermenting this, I think maybe that will make it a little bit more savory. Because right now it doesn't really taste like much. It just tastes like a mild jackfruit taste. But if you ferment it, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to the flavor. So let's find out. Okay, so here is an unripe jackfruit. Just a little note here, you know how earlier I said that sometimes you can find fresh, unripe jackfruit at Indian grocery stores in the US? Well, I thought that because years ago I actually bought one and I made a video about it. For this video, I bought one again in order to try fermenting it. And while I was going through this process, I realized something. I was wrong. This is actually not an unripe jackfruit at all. It is a different species called bread nut. And my video from long ago was actually wrong. Incredibly, after 7 years of this video being online, nobody called me out on it. It's a first. Anyway, I will be releasing a video about bread nut in the near future, but for now, do me a favor and pretend that it isn't there. Thanks. Okay, so I'm going to ferment the unripe jackfruit and the ripe jackfruit in the same jar. Why? Because I'm too lazy to go and find another jar. But I'm going to start with the unripe one. I'm going to put that at the bottom. And to do this, you put just a layer on the bottom, and then a sprinkling of salt, I don't know, half a teaspoon, another handful of fruit, another pinch of salt, fruit, salt, fruit, salt. Now we move on to the ripe stuff. Fruit, salt, fruit, salt, fruit, salt, fruit, salt. You want to make sure there's enough salt in this, that way it doesn't, allow bacteria to get in. Okay, so next we want to add water to it. You want to make sure that everything is submerged, so in order to keep it down, all you need to do is take your fermenting weights and put it in there. Or if you're like me, you're going to take a bag of water and put it in there. Make sure the bag is clean. Okay, the lid is going to go on top. I'm not going to tighten it, I'm just going to put it on loosely. And this is going to sit in a dark place for, I don't know. And here it is. It's been in this jar for about 10 days. I've seen some recipes say that you should ferment it for a week. I've seen others say you should ferment it for a month. I'm impatient, so I went with 10 days. Ooh, it does smell still fruity, but also has like this vinegary kind of smell to it. It tastes a little bit like sauerkraut, which makes sense. I mean, this is how you would make sauerkraut, but it has like this firm, rubbery kind of texture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare this, and I'm going to prepare just plain jackfruit rags that have not been fermented and see what difference it makes. Is this a good idea for your fake meat? Let's find out. And here we go. I have the Mandai jackfruit cooked, and I have the regular ripe jackfruit rind cooked. The recipe that I followed for this is a very simple one. It's one that I saw from a YouTuber based out of Banjarmasin, which is where I found the Cempedak Mandai. They also use some fish. Like I said, this is often not used as something for vegetarians. It's sort of something people make that happens to be vegetarian. So I didn't put little fish in this. First, I'm going to try some of the jackfruit rind that has not been fermented. That tastes pretty good. The flavor of the jackfruit is there. You can taste this fruity flavor. It is sweet. You can totally make pulled pork with this, or something else that you would want it to have a little bit of a sweetness to it. The little pieces here are quite succulent, and because of that, it feels like I'm biting into fruit, not meat. So I think If you wanted to make this more like meat, you would probably want to take another step to doing this and maybe put it in the oven, dry it out a little bit, draw out some of that liquid and make it have a more meat-like texture. Next, the fermented one, and I can tell this is going to be a very different experience. It is not nearly as juicy looking. This looks more like, I don't know, like an artichoke heart or something, less like a piece of fruit. Okay? Hey! Brief intermission, guys. The cat's litter robot is doing its thing. You're interrupting the cycle. She loves that litter robot, but it makes me crazy because she will just keep interrupting it every time it moves. And every time that happens, I get a notification on my phone. So it'd be like, cycle interrupted, cycle interrupted, cycle interrupted. It'll be like 10 of them in a row because it'll move and she'll like go over there and like interrupt it. Okay, let's give it a shot. Okay, let's give it a shot. This is so much better than the one that's not fermented. In many ways, but first of all, the texture is very different. It's more firm, less juicy. It's still succulent, but it is more meat-like by far. I think a lot of people that do stuff like this with Mandai, they'll first deep fry it, and I think that would make this even better. The one that I had in the packet, that was cooked down a lot. That is going to be the best way to get the most of a meat-like texture. As it is like this, it is not like the most meat-like thing, but it's definitely more like meat than the other one. The texture of it is firmer. It fights you a little bit. It's a little gristly. Those little rubbery bits in there, when you bite into them, they come in like shreds. It feels more like meat by far. The most notable thing about the fermented jackfruit is its flavor. The one here, I know they look exactly the same. The one that is not fermented, that's this one, is sweet. It tastes like fruit. This is not sweet, and this does not taste like fruit. I mean, it maybe has like a little bit of a sweetness to it. And knowing that it's made out of jackfruit, I can kind of get like a little bit of something like jackfruit from it, like jackfruit vinegar, a little bit of that. It's like a sauerkraut compared to a cabbage. Cabbages don't taste like much of anything, but when you ferment them, they do have like this nice kind of like savory, vinegary, fermenty flavor. This has that. This has that. I wouldn't go so far to say this tastes like meat, but it would be much easier to turn this into something that does taste like meat by using the right spices than this. Texture-wise, yes, but also flavor-wise. Mandai is a very useful thing. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, when you do it the right way with a Cempedak, you are saving something that you would be throwing away, and instead you are making something that is tasty. You can use almost the entire Cempedak. And jackfruit works the same way. Jackfruits are the biggest tree fruit in the world. But once you get rid of the green part, once you get rid of the rind, and once you get rid of the seeds, you throw away more than half of it just to get to that fruit. This would be a great way to prevent food waste, but also, deal with it in a way that makes sense. Jackfruits are big. Maybe you don't want to cook 20 pounds of jackfruit skin in one go. You are turning it into something that tastes even better, but also is better for storage. So you can take chunks of it out as you need and cook it like meat. This makes so much sense. You have to go through, you gotta separate everything out, and that kind of sucks. But once you do that, you are left with a lot of food. I have just a little bit of jackfruit, like a quarter of a small jackfruit, and it gave me a big jar full of the jackfruit Mandai. If you're dealing with like a big guy, that is food to last weeks. And it's good food. It's tasty. You can season it however you want. You can put it in curries and like make your pulled pork, do all that stuff. But you can do it in a way like as you want it. So I think this actually, when you think about it, makes more sense than picking an unripe jackfruit and preparing it. You're getting the fruit, the seeds, and probably because you let it grow bigger, you're getting even more of a fake meat out of it. You just need to do something with it to make it taste like the unripe one. And making the Mandai, it does that. So I definitely learned something today by doing this. I hope you guys learned something too. And yeah, if you try it out, let me know how it goes. Thanks so much, everybody. I will see you all next time.
I would like to give a very big thank you to Joseph McCorkle, Smarter Every Day, and Bill T. They are mega patrons over on Patreon.com. Patreon and also YouTube memberships are how I afford to do all the things that I do on this channel, basically. So for anyone watching who is interested in supporting the channel and getting some really cool bonuses in return, one cool bonus is that there are exclusive videos, over 100 exclusive videos that are only available for members. So yeah, you gotta check it out. I'll put some information down in the description below.